everybody, and welcome to the video. Today I'm going to be giving you guys my first thoughts on Wuthering Waves as I go through the menu and I just mess with stuff. Now do note that I am not too far into the game, right? I am in chapter 1, act 1, Huang Long, right? But I want to give you guys my experience so far of the first few minutes of this game and kind of just give you my thoughts, right? The first 30 minutes, because I don't know. Maybe that's less than 30 minutes. Let's see. Actually, does that say 23 minutes? Oh, no, that's meters. Never mind. But the first, like, half hour of this game. But before we do, a couple disclaimers. One, I like Genshin. I like Genshin Impact, but I'm not some crazy fan. So, I know there's the whole thing right now in the gacha space, I guess, where it's like you get crazy Genshin Impact players who aren't even giving Wuthering Waves a chance. They're just shitting on this game from second one. I'm not going to be one of those people, right? I'm going to be completely fair. And at the end of the day, my opinion right now is only temporary. This game just came out. It just came out. So any problems I have with it could change like that today. It could change tomorrow. It is entirely dependent on how Kuro Games approaches this issue, and I guess kind of how I approach the issues that this game may have, right? But I'm not going to sit here and being like, hey, Genshin number 1, Wuthering Waves number 2. I'm not going to be Wuthering Waves number 1, Genshin number 2. I'm going to be completely fair in this, right? And another thing to note is I am on a low-end device. And it's important for a couple reasons. One, obviously, that's going to mess with gameplay. A low-end device is not going to be able to run a game as well as a top-end device, especially if you're running this on a computer or if you're running this on a really nice phone or a tablet or whatever. But I think it's also important in the sense that not everyone is going to have a great phone. In fact, we might be surprised about the amount of people who are running this game on some beginner device, right? By beginner device, I mean someone who signed up for some mobile plan, got some basic phone, and that's the phone that they run with, right? The phone that probably has like 100-some gigs, but isn't exactly the best high-end device, right? It's not some $1,000 phone, but probably like some $300 phone. Not that you need to spend the most amount of money. But point is, if I can get this phone and have Genshin run super smooth and all that, I would like to think that you should be able to do the same with Wuthering Waves. Again, I will note that Wuthering Waves has just come out, so there's going to be internal issues with not me, but like the service, the game, right? So that's why I mentioned earlier, got to give it time. Oh, sorry, a little burpee. Got a little bit of a hiccup. But okay. I don't know what this is. Oh. Okay. So, with that being said, let's get into it. My experience with Wuthering Waves so far, honest to God, has been questionable. Right? I mean, I really want Wuthering Waves to be great. Reason being, and I'm not going to go completely into this. If you want me to go completely into this, I could do so in another video. But I think Genshin Impact needs a real competitor. And I think Wuthering Waves is that competitor. Genshin Impact, again, the game itself is fun. It is so fun of a game. I think the story's good. I love the characters. Despite what anyone may say, Genshin Impact is not a terrible game. It is a good game. Because if it was a bad game, regardless of the genre, regardless of open world gacha anime style, if the game was bad, if the story was terrible, no one would play it. But the fact that the game is fun, the fact that the story is interesting, that it looks great, people do play it, right? And I'm going to stick by that 100%. Now, the game does have its flaws. One, and I'm in agreement with this with a lot of people, it's just like, how can I say this? There needs to be a challenge for people, especially for people who are pushing through the story. I guess we'll choose this. We'll choose that. But for people who are pushing the story, I mean, if you go through all the trouble of building tons of characters and getting some top tier equipment, I can't tell you how many times I've seen MTash or Doro looking at equipment, and it's like the craziest equipment in the world apparently, and it's just like you have nothing to truly test this on, right? What does it matter if you have that legendary piece of equipment or some basic equipment? The fact that I've seen people like Necrit from who does League of Legends content, enter the game and go through all this content without equipment and beat it is just like, that shouldn't be possible. I do Summoner's War content, right? If I could enter and just do Giant's Abyss, it's still a beginner dungeon, but if I could sit there and do Giant's Abyss with no runes on units, that's a problem. That's a problem. Because then there means that there's no reason to really grind out as hard, right? There's no real reason to build up tons of characters, other than for the sake of having them built, right? And for the sake of having, hey, bragging rights, you know? Hey, I have the highest attack stat on my blankety blank, right? It's like, I need there to be a challenge. And I understand that there's the argument, hey, no, I don't think there needs to be challenging content. Some of us want an easy game. And I think a game should be capable of both, right? Where, hey, yeah, you can kick it back and take it easy, but you should also have the ability to sit there and have an actual challenge. I think, if I can bring Summoner's War into this, I know it's a gacha game. It's not open world, but it's a gacha game. It's like PvP RTA, it's challenging areas. But there's also PvE areas like the new Challenge of Ascension or something like that. That is quite a challenge. There's TOA Hell. There's challenging areas in the game where you need good equipment, where you need good units to actually beat it, right? You can't come in with some BS or whatever. You can't be like, hey, I've been playing the game for 34 hours or so, coming in with no equipment and beating it. It's just like, that shouldn't be possible, right? And the fact that you got Netcrit to be able to sit there and do it, it just really shows you that Genshin, while again they have cool characters and they have all this crazy equipment, is just that there's no challenge. And I am a firm believer that Genshin doesn't really pose too much of a challenge in terms of difficulty, right? And I think that you should have at least the option to challenge yourself in that game, especially if you're going to be sitting there grinding for all of that equipment. But that is simply my opinion at the end of the day, and you don't have to agree with me on that. By the way, I got my favorite character. I saw him in the trailer for this game, and it's just like, he's the guy with the dragon, dude. Hold up, we got to level him up. But it's a shame that you get so many people who sit there and they're like, oh no, it doesn't need to be some type of challenge. It's like, I think there needs to be a challenge. But I don't know. Hold up. Hold up. Okay, sorry. So I'm probably just cutting it to here, but I got distracted with this character a little bit. So I think that there does need to be a challenge, and I'm glad Wuthering Waves is going to be bringing that challenge, right? But so far, from what we have, we're not going to see tons of challenging content yet. The game is just coming out, it's just getting started. From what I've experienced so far, the game is not quite ready. I mean, it's fun to play. I think I'm glad I'm playing it right now, but the story, the gameplay is just... The gameplay is cool, right? The story itself, I find to be a bit boring. So let's focus on that a little bit. When I sit here and I'm comparing Wuthering Waves to Genshin's story, Genshin tells the story better. It just does. And you may disagree with me, and that's completely fine. I think Genshin tells the story way better. When we're just talking about that one area of Mondstadt, right? We're talking about the story through Mondstadt, when you're fighting all the way till you defeat Storm Terror and you free Storm Terror from I can't remember, why is the name slipping my tongue? When you free Storm Terror, right, and you save him or you defeat him, whatever, it's just like you're hooked. I was hooked at the very least the entire time going through that. I mean, when I got to that point where it's like, hey, you need to rank up, you need to level up, all that, it's like I was like, okay, let's hurry up and do this so I can get back to the story, right? With what I've experienced so far, and I'm not too far into the story, it's just like I'm bored out of my mind. They're talking and talking, and it's just like, I don't know what, I'm uninterested. The only thing that was pulling me back into the story was the amazing cutscenes, was the amazing looking characters. I mean, look at Ling Yang, he's cool and all, but your first, I can't remember, Tacit boss fight, it's just like, that was cool, but it's just like, it's boring. Heck, I'm already forgetting some of the story as we sit here. And I was like, man, maybe this is just me. Maybe I'm just weird in that sense. Maybe it's just like brain rot. Maybe my brain is rotted due to like YouTube Shorts or TikTok or something like that. And I go on Reddit, I go on Twitter, and it's just like, it seems a lot of people share that sentiment, where the story is boring. Apparently, it does pick up later on, and it's like, I watch people like Tectone. I like Tectone. Tectone is funny to me. And it's like, even he's saying, it's like, hey, it picks up around Scar. I don't know what Scar is. I can't wait to figure out what Scar is. But it picks up around that moment. And to me, it's just like, why? You know what I mean? It's like, why is it that the first hour of the story is boring? It shouldn't be like that. It should be where it's just like in Genshin, it's like I hop into Genshin, and it's like I was hooked pretty much within the first 5 minutes. Right? I could sit there and I could, in a summarized fashion, sit here and tell you what happened throughout the entirety of that Mondstadt area, right? The story for Mondstadt. I don't think I could honestly sit here. I could sit here and give you like a very loose skeleton of a story, right? It's like, oh, you woke up on a beach, some girl said she was going to give you CPR, insert the saves dick by giving CPR, anyways, and saves dick by giving it CPR, thing, but, joking. It tells you something about a dragon? It's like they brought up this super cool looking dragon, and then boom, it's just like, okay, you're moving on to the next thing. Then you're fighting the super cool demon. Then you absorb it, and it's an echo or whatever. It's just, I was so lost. And even and I'm sitting there and I'm trying to pay attention, and it's just like they're talking so much that I just don't care, right? And I couldn't believe it. I'm like, dude. Like, I'm not trying to be like one of those people that it's like, I'm not giving this game a chance. I wanted to give it a chance, but it's like it doesn't want to give itself a chance. It's just boring. And the fact that it's like, I go online to see, it's like, hey, am I the only one having this issue? No, everyone is finding the game boring up until that Scar point. It's just like, that's not good. Because you're going to get, especially the extremists, you're going to get the people who are super into Genshin and they don't want to give anybody else a chance. And you're like, hey, see, the game is boring. And it's just like, I hate to admit, it's like, yeah, it's like you could sit here, and when you're talking about how laggy the game is, especially with how boring the game is, it's like, you're going to get a majority of people who are going to be like, hey, I'm going to play this first 15 minutes, I'm going to give it 15, 20 minutes to impress me, and they're not going to be impressed at all. They're going to be like, oh, the characters are droning on, the game is choppy, the game is laggy, I'm in this first boss fight, and it's like, I'm clicking dodge, and it's not dodging. It's just like, there's a lot of issues. And the only thing that is really keeping you here is cool looking characters like Ling Yang, which Ling Yang is going to be my main. I'm telling you, he's going to be my main. That is not, I'm saying he's my main for now and then I'm going to change later. No, he's my main forever. And, but it's just like, it's cool looking characters and it's amazing cutscenes. I will say the cutscenes are better than Genshin's. I'm going to say that, and I might be the only one on this, but the cutscenes are way better than Genshin. Way better. They're much more fulfilling to look at. While Genshin's are still good. They're good. It's not like this. It was the first time in a while I'm just sitting here like, whoa. Whoa. Oh my gosh. The detail, the shadowing, just... it is absolutely insane how good it was. And even like, if I can name a specific part, right? When you're clashing swords with that one Tacit in the beginning, you know which scene I'm talking about. I'm trying not to spoil it. It's just like, that scene is epic as fuck. And I'm like, oh shit. And then you enter the fight, and then that feeling gets taken away because it's laggy. Right? So, with just how I've been playing the game so far, how I've been experiencing it, this game needs time. I understand that it just came out, and that's where I'm at with this, where it's like, if this game was like a year old and it played like this, especially on a low-end device where a majority of people are going to have low-end devices, not everyone's going to have the best device, it's just like, the fact that you're going to get such a cool-looking game, a beautiful-looking game, and it's going to become unplayable because you're sitting there and you're trying to run around, it's like, look at this. I don't know if you can see what I'm seeing. Maybe it's... See, it's like, you see the cuts, the choppiness? Oh, that, oh my god, that looks so cool. Is that unlimited, bro? Oh my gosh, I can't wait to play with you more, bro. It's like, you see what I mean? It looks cool. And it's just like, it gets ruined by the lagginess. And it's like, even just running around in the city, you can see that it's just like, it's being messed up by a couple things. And I'm going to play this on a different device in a bit to see if it changes, but as of right now, it's just like, this is going to mess up the story for a lot of people. But, I don't know. I think, give it a week. Let them go through those updates. And from there, we can give a more definitive answer. But I will say this. The compensation that they've been giving us so far, Genshin could never. Okay, I'll see you guys in the next one. I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to give any final things on this. I'm going to say, give Wuthering Waves time. Give it a little bit of time. I'm trying to be hopeful for this game because this game looks cool. This character looks cool. Give it time. But I do want to give you guys a more definitive, a more fulfilling first thought on this game. But my first thoughts on Wuthering Waves at this moment is that it has the potential to be great. It's just not great right now. It's being saved by, like, him, but and the compensation, how well they're treating us so far right now, they better be treating us well. It's the first few days. You don't want to act like assholes on the first few days, but it's just, for right now, it's just not the greatest. And even like with, again, I've seen people like Tectone, it's just like, when you're like, oh yeah, the story's boring, it's like, dude, that's why a lot of people are playing. But give it time, and hopefully, especially for people who are on low-end devices, it becomes playable for them. But I don't know. You guys tell me what you think on Wuthering Waves. What is your feeling on this? For me, I'm so unsure. I don't want to rule it out just yet, but for right now, it's just not the most playable game at the moment. But again, tell me what you guys think. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.